Live, babe.
Yeah.
We're live. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to also go find us on Instagram, Twitter. Like, share, thumbs up, send heart, send stars, whatever.
Send help.
Wow. Are you blinking twice for help?
Yes.
Anyways, send whatever you can send. Send well wishes and thoughts and prayers. I will take everything you got. Okay, I'm going to share. I'm going to write a post, and I'm going to tell everyone, come watch our show. Post. Okay. I'm an equal opportunity well-wisher sharer. Like one time in the drive-thru, someone told me, Allah bless you. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you. I will take all your blessings. There we go. We're ready for the show because Godzilla's on. The dogs are sitting quietly. Let's hope it lasts. Let's go quickly before something bad happens.
3 seconds.
Well, shush, don't back it up.
I live in the railroad.
Okay, well, I'm going to go as fast as we can. Hopefully it will last a long time. All right.
Start talking.
We have a great variety of movies and experiences and things to talk about. And now this dog's already moving and she's going to take out. And
there went the
oh my gosh, she's taking out Sabine. Stop it. See, it did not last but a minute. Not even. Go.
You need to stop hitting her and look at there so we know what the camera
Oh
looks
my
like.
gosh. It needs to go your way a little bit more. Okay, stop right there.
Busy messing with the
Oh,
dog.
it's turning all by itself. What is that about? Lord. I was trying to stop her from completely taking it down. Yes, it's better.
I know what you were trying to do, but you weren't fixing what needed to be done.
And she's trying to walk through again, so I feel like we got to start over.
I don't even care. I'll cancel the show.
I was telling you, we have a wide variety of things to talk about in addition to the dog terremoto that just happened. So next, what movie do you want to start with, babe? Let's just keep it moving. I don't even care. All right. Do you want to talk? We got some shows. We got some stuff. Actually, I'm going to start here. This is favorite people. And I know you've talked to him before.
Who?
This guy right here.
Oh.
Tell me about this movie.
He's not one of our favorite people.
He's one of my favorite people now. I think he's just super nice. And
he's a very nice man. I will agree to that.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks for destroying things and then just leaving.
Lord, she's like a normal woman. Sorry. Continue.
Oh, no. You are acting.
All right. So this is the movie Escape from Death Block 13. Not to be confused with Escape from Cell Block 13, I believe, with Charles Bronson. Because this is not. This is
I don't think there's Charles Bronson. I don't think it's in Cell Block anything, is it?
I thought it was in Cell Block 13. You told me about this. I'll find out.
All right. So there's a guy named Robert Bronzi. If you have not heard about him, looks exactly like the late Charles Bronson. He was brought to my attention when he had a movie called Death Kiss come out. And it looked very much just like Death Wish. Oh,
there's a brawl in Cell Block 99.
Yes, that's Vince Vaughn.
There's riot in Cell Block 11. Oh, sorry.
He looks just like Charles Bronson, and his fully capitalized on that. Excuse me, it's given him a full career of just doing similar action films and revenge flicks and stuff like him. Ironically enough, after we saw Death Kiss, and the movie's okay, it's kind of a.
It went in a little it got a little confusing for a second, and then it came back.
It's fully clearly trying to capitalize on that look. And what I didn't know is that he appeared that probably a few weeks after we recognized the movie or something. Anyway, at Frightmare Weekend, and I got all excited, so I went and I met him. What I was not aware of, because he doesn't speak a lot in Death Kiss, is, excuse me, went to speak with him. He barely speaks English. He's Hungarian, I believe it is. So it's very, hello, how are you doing? You know, like.
Nice, I love it.
And so, but he was a super nice guy. So now he's on my radar, and I'll watch anything he does. You have to understand, though, the movies he makes are cheesy. It's kind of like the Sci-Fi Channel movies in the action genre. Mega Shark versus Mega Alligator.
Yeah.
They're the cheesy science fiction, the cheesy dialogue, the cheesy action. They fully are aware of the movies they're making, the budget they have, and so now he's done a couple of westerns, a couple of horror flicks. Now he's got Escape from Death.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. Escape from Death Block
Do you need
13.
anything?
So many things. Which is basically a prison escape revenge flick.
He is Hungarian. You are correct.
And the premise of the film is he goes to collect money that was owed to his brother who's been killed. And they won't give him the money. They try to beat him up. He fights back, kills somebody, and he is unjustly sent to prison after they tried to kill him. Then it becomes a whole different movie of him just trying to survive in prison, then realizing trying to escape. So you meet this bizarre cast of characters, bizarre people that are, I guess, supposed to be tough or something, and you're like, who are these people? And it's not.
Is it a little confusing?
It is not a good movie by any means. But if you watch it for the cheese of it, it's one of those films that's like, it's so bad it's good.
Is the action good though?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
It's because it's like you have this one guy in it who is supposed to be the badass of the prison, and he's supposedly beating everybody up, and he kills them, and the warden gets him to beat up people for him, and you watch him fight, and the guy's like, I'm like,
oh,
this guy beats people up, and
he's one of these guys.
There is plenty of action. There's plenty of gunfights. There's plenty of explosions. There's plenty of stupidity.
That's all we need.
There's weird characters. There's the one guy that's been in prison for a long time. He's like, just gotta take your beating. Let it happen, man. There's no reason to try to fight back. Then there's prison riots. It's a ridiculously bad movie, and it's one of those that I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people that love it. I didn't hate it because I knew what I was getting.
Mm-hmm.
I got exactly what I expected to get from it, which is cheese.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you like the cheap, cheesy action sci-fi flicks from Sci-Fi Channel, like Mega Shark versus Mega Alligator or Crocodile, whatever the hell movies are called, or Sharknado, or those kind of movies, this is the same kind of movie, but in the action genre, not the horror genre.
There you go. That's it. So it's just a fun, action, whatever. I
don't know if for it is fun is the right term, but yes, it exists, and it's fun. It is enjoyable just seeing him and staring at it and going, what? This guy exists?
He's cool, though.
And in this movie, it's his real accent. It's his real voice, so it's not like...
Is he speaking more now?
He's speaking.
Okay.
He's the strong silent type. He's kind of like... I guess he's probably like Charles Bronson, where he's the same in every movie. He's just Charles Bronson. This guy's Robert Bronzy.
In every movie.
Yeah. And so it's... Man, love it or hate it. Like, if you hate these kind of movies, you're going to hate this movie with a passion. Don't watch this movie for its quality. Watch it for just the nostalgia's not the word. What's the word I'm looking of? When you're capitalizing on it, and it's just watch it for what it is. It's cheap, it's cheesy, it's silly. Fine. It is what it is. And I give full props to that guy for he had found a niche. He knows who he looks like, and he is embracing it and building a career.
There you go.
So he's not walking around trying to be anything but exactly what he is. And he is not Charles Bronson, but everybody sure thinks he is.
All right, then. Okay. Moving on.
So it's available now, I think, in theaters or on demand or something.
Okay.
Just find it. If you want to watch that, man, you'll find it.
Oh, I didn't update these other slides. Oh, well. You'll just tell me about it.
What are you doing?
I was just looking. I didn't update that.
You don't.
Hashtag fail. Okay, all right, next. What do you want to talk about next?
I've been doing that while I was talking about this movie.
I know.
Now you're going to be talking about another one that I've seen by myself, so you can do that, aren't you?
No. What do you want to talk about?
I don't care. Pick something.
You want to talk about one of these things?
I don't care.
Let's talk about that.
I don't know what? Oh.
This.
If you haven't seen by now, there's a couple different shows on Netflix. This isn't really a movie per se, more of a show, but there's a couple of different ones. It started with The Toys That Made Us, and then it shifted into a series called The Movies That Made Us. They're essentially like little 30-minute to an hour episodes about, in the movies section, about movies. There's holiday movies, there's some other random movies. They just did one more recently that's sci-fi and horror.
Yes.
So they touched
We're
on
enjoying these.
yeah, Die Hard and Dirty Dancing and Elf. And
Just all these behind the scenes things you didn't know about the making of the movie.
most people don't know.
Well, okay, you do. So most recently, in the past week or so, we've watched Nightmare on Elm Street. What's his name? Friday the 13th, Halloween.
That's Friday the 13th. You went Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, Nightmare on Elm
These people
Street.
are.
This is Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's Jason.
This is Jason from Camp Crystal Lake.
Yes.
And then Halloween is Michael Myers.
And there's one about aliens.
We watched Aliens.
There's RoboCop.
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
No, it was about aliens.
Yes, I said Aliens.
Okay.
Not Alien Part 2. Aliens.
Yes.
Anyways.
There's RoboCop, and like I said, there's all kinds of movies, but they did a lot of recent. I think they're still coming to America. We haven't watched. I don't remember the other.
Anyways, I'm enjoying it because, unlike you, who knows everything supposedly,
there's some of the stuff I don't know, but
I didn't know any of this. The struggles of making some of these movies, and a lot of them were really low budget movies at the time. People were like, who's going to want to watch all this blood and guts over here with this dude? And then, they were just like, how are they going to do all this? And so it's interesting to see how back in the day they were making things, because to me, it reminds us of how when we tried to do our little movies, it's like, okay, how do we
succeeded. Thank you very much.
Yeah. How do we do blood and how do we do that? And so, just watching them and then seeing now how it's evolved and everything's like, I guess, easier. But back then, the struggle is what bonded a lot of these people together. And they mentioned specifically on the Friday the 13th cast and crew, like a lot of these people went on to like work together on several movies afterwards because they were bonded by the experience of, the trial and error. There was not enough people in the cast. And like, oh, hey, you prop guy, why don't you be in the scene? And he's like, what? So it's just really interesting show. It's on Netflix. You should watch it. It's very fun.
It is. And it's, the only stuff I learned for a lot of this stuff, because I've learned a lot of these things because I'm either obsessed of reading articles or interviews with actors, and I've heard legends and all the different stuff. But it's more interesting. It's like some of the stuff that I didn't know about, like in some cases of actors that were in roles that I didn't know. Like I knew the whole Back to the Future thing with Eric Stoltz playing Marty McFly, and then them shooting it and getting rid of him and bringing in Michael J. Fox. And I knew all that story. But with stuff about aliens, I didn't know Michael Biehn was not always Hicks. I didn't know that James Remar was originally Hicks, and due to his drugs and issues, that he got bumped out, and he's had a just fine career since.
Yeah.
Between Black Lightning and Dexter's Dad.
I was gonna say he's Dexter's dad.
Everything else he's done. But and it's funny because in the show we're talking about aliens, he's in there and he's talking and they're saying Hicks, and I'm like, he wasn't even in the movie. He's not Hicks. Then you get to that point, you find out,
that's why
Hicks.
And that's why he's not now.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a really interesting, fun show, so make sure you check it out. It's on Netflix.
And you can pick and choose whichever one you watch because they don't flow into like each one. Like every so often they may mention one of the other movies if it was something that affected, like when you're watching Friday the 13th, they obviously mention stuff from Nightmare or Halloween, excuse me, because it was right influenced. But yeah, you can watch any of them anytime, any order.
Yeah, watch the movies you like.
Like she doesn't watch all of it. She's not that interested.
Yeah, I only care about the movies I like.
She's very selfish.
Anyways, check it out. All right, so let's move on to some other movies. What do you want to talk about here? You want to talk about this one?
I don't care. Pick one.
Okay, we're going here. Then you'll be like, oh, why did you pick that? Okay, so this is the movie Spencer, starring, surprisingly, Kristen Stewart.
So it's all about a detective who, when people need some issues, they hire him.
No.
They did a remake movie with Mark Wahlberg. And what are you laughing at?
You're thinking Spencer for Hire.
Oh,
this is Spencer. It's the movie about Princess Diana.
Oh.
About, I guess, really.
Is that the song Michael Jackson sang?
Diana. No. So this is interesting. So this is how do we say? I guess it's a little bit of an imagining.
It is
of what that final kind of family
It's a time period
Christmas.
after there had already been distraught and rumors of affairs and divorces and breakups. So it's a Christmas weekend
Mhm.
after all this has gone down.
Kind of the big final family Christmas.
Yeah, where they're supposed to go here, and it's in a fairy tale / imagination of
It's an
what
imagining.
the filmmaker from interviews and stories, the thing might have happened in that fateful weekend of Diana having to be there when in reality everything in their family was falling apart.
Correct.
Between her and Charles over.
Yes, Prince Charles.
Senor Ears.
Yes. So this is interesting. So this is during the time period she knows he's with the other lady. She's fully aware of it. And I think the most telling thing, or the element that goes throughout this whole weekend, is the dang pearl necklace. Because she knows he bought his mistress the exact same gift. And then he gave her one too. And she's like, really? Like, come on. So there's a lot that's going on with this. So I found this movie to be absolutely compelling. And I am wonderfully surprised by Kristen Stewart.
I had no interest in this movie.
I know, you're not into the whole royals.
I don't understand the fascination with the royals. I don't understand.
Really?
I don't understand why people care.
Is this a man thing, maybe?
No. I don't. But see, I also don't understand the obsession with giving two craps about anybody's personal life.
No.
That's not your own. Like, I understand being a fan of an actor or a sports person or Diana for that matter. I don't understand why you care beyond what they've done, what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I love Tom Hanks. I don't care about his personal life.
Well, he's been with the same lady forever.
But I'm saying, I don't care about who he's... I mean, I might be like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know he's married to her. And, oh, they did this charity. I don't care about their problems or their things they get in trouble about, their controversies. Like, I'm a fan of their work. And it ends at that.
Okay, well, this is whole.
And Diana, even growing up, I never understood when the wedding, when the big wedding was, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the wedding is TV," and I'm like, "This is the stupidest thing. This doesn't matter."
I watched the whole thing. It's the royals, so
it doesn't matter.
Idea that there are royalty in the world.
There's royalty all over the world in different countries, and nobody cares anything about.
I care.
You would not care about any other royal thing that popped up.
Well, we don't have access to that as readily as we do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't. If they suddenly like I love learning about like the king in Thailand, the previous king, not the current one. Nobody likes the new guy.
Yeah.
But and the fact that his daughter is who people wanted but couldn't be the king because he's a female, not a male, and all that stuff. That's interesting in a sense of history.
People are agreeing with you. I'm telling you, this is a guy thing because
this is history. But I don't understand why it matters.
Okay, it doesn't matter that it doesn't matter.
But why?
Because it's that whole idea of the fairy tale that women have that Prince Charming's going to come and whisk you away.
Have you seen him?
I know.
Then why would y'all not immediately be
Charles.
like...
We want the kids.
Okay, but when you look on there and they're like, here's the story. I know we grew up with the Disney princesses and all that crap. I'm sorry, but the prince on The Little Mermaid looks nothing like Charles. So I would assume the first time you say, oh, here's the reality. Oh, goodness. Maybe that's not real. Let's move on.
Oh, Lord.
Even the kids that are the younger guys now that, Meghan Markle is hot.
Yeah.
But she was an actress. So, and she's not a royal. So I understand the compelling nature of what's going on. And then I understand why are they're concerned that he left the royal world for his wife.
Wow.
That seems more interesting. The Diana crap, I'm like, who cares? This lady married this big-eared guy. Then they had an affair and he cheated on her with a lady that wasn't as hot as her.
No,
and she
not
died
at all.
in a runner from paparazzi. Okay, I get it. There's a compelling story that could be a movie. Beyond that, who gives a shit?
Okay, here's why. Because Diana Spencer, which, hey, the movie's named Spencer, was a seemingly just kind of normal lady, and of course she did have title. She was from a good family with prestige and title and all that. But she married a prince, babe.
I get that part. That part I understand.
She was being groomed to be the future queen. She could have been queen.
I understand. Okay, I understand where that part becomes interesting. The wedding isn't interesting.
The wedding is so interesting.
I saw part of this wedding when it was on TV.
It's actually very interesting.
Horrifically boring.
Okay, but there's
nobody I know that goes to any wedding and does not come out of their wedding. You might be like, oh, it was a beautiful wedding. Oh, she looks so beautiful. Everybody's full of crap. Yeah. Everybody goes to weddings and they're like,
There's so much tradition
Oh
that
my
goes
God.
into these royal weddings, and that's why everybody's watching them, because there's a certain procession of who arrives at what time, in what order they go in, and who
It
sits
is
and
red
where,
carpet bullshit
and then
again.
when they come out. It's a whole big ordeal, and there's very specific traditions.
But
that
I don't
have to be
understand
met.
why anybody can.
That's why people buy the commemorative plates.
Yeah, because they're
and
stupid.
the little dolls and the little whatever.
But they're
It's
not
amazing.
But they're not bringing anything to you. Like
Ben,
fandom.
you don't even know.
I understand collecting in fandom, right?
My friend,
I collect Star Wars
friend
stuff.
Dee Dee has all of the royal
Look,
plates.
I
like with
collect
people's faces
Star
on
Wars stuff. I understand that.
You don't
You're
get it.
Buffy and Angel stuff. I'm in martial arts. I get all these different collectibles and these ideas and these things and what it brings you. The Royals bring nothing to you.
It doesn't matter.
They don't bring
fairy tale
daily
idea.
entertainment to you. I just spin in your hair. Sorry.
Just know for the women, it's the fairy tale idea that a prince is going to take you and you're going to become a princess or a queen or something.
But you're never going to.
Well, not the way this lady is. She's going to outlive all of them.
And the reality, it's like the reality of, if I was to say, okay, the idea of my love of Star Wars is the idea that I could fight a space battle and go and see aliens, and then the reality is Trump's Space Force. I'd be like, you know what? If I had to compare those realities, I'd be like, you know what? Star Wars could kiss my ass.
William Shatner's going to space. So.
William Shatner already came back. He was barely in space.
Whatever. Okay.
Even Tom Hanks put that whole thing.
I know. Tom Hanks is so funny. Anyway, so if you could go fight, like if you could be in Star Wars and go fight the dark side, would you? Oh no, you
in
were
real life?
Side. Yes.
No, people would die.
Well, let me put this out there. I would marry a prince.
Yeah, yes, because you get to leave this bullshit world behind, and you don't.
I don't know.
Because you wouldn't have to work, and you'd be all like, "Yeah, you would do that." That's different. So basically, what you're telling me is, you ladies have the fantasy of hoeing out for money.
Yes.
Okay, that's different. That's more compelling. What level of cash do you hoe out for to give up to be?
A castle and a prince.
So we saw Spencer.
Anyway, let's bring it back. Here's the thing.
So anyway, I had no interest in this movie because I don't understand.
I absolutely had interest because I follow all of the royal stuff.
But
I watched The Crown. I've watched every Diana documentary.
I do know all the stories. Like the Crown stuff, I can understand that being interesting because you're seeing the history of the lineage and stuff. That's like history kind of mentality. Just watching people's wedding.
I've watched them all.
Yes, when she passed away tragically in that car accident, that's news. That's not entertainment. That's news, right? And that's why I don't understand. Anyway, my only interest in this movie was really Kristen Stewart, who I'm not a huge fan of.
Agreed.
But her post-Twilight career, she's been really good.
She's amazing.
And it's because she's found herself as an adult. She was this awkward kid in a series of horribly bad movies that just happened to make a lot of money because
they were okay.
People with bad taste enjoy them.
They were very popular. The books were popular. I mean, that's
they
fine.
Were trash.
But I was telling you this, and then you have insight into another interview. So I watched an interview recently this week when she was on the Today Show promoting the movie, and she was just so like articulate and like alive and vibrant, and she was able to hold like a real conversation, and she wasn't awkward picking at her greasy hair like she used to. Like she had some legit answers about Diana and what she thought and her preparation for the role and what she felt the movie was like. She was so on, and I told you I was just so shocked. And then you gave me insight into another interview.
I've seen her on two separate interviews when Howard Stern that I obviously mention a lot, but I listen to her all the time. But she talked about the fact that when she did all those interviews back then with Twilight and all those stuff, she was a kid. She had no idea what was going on. She wasn't confident in who she was. She didn't know who she was. She was just promoting these movies. It was work to her, but she didn't want to be out there doing that. And so the interviews, it was literally just being uncomfortable doing it. And now she's found who she is as a person. She's found out who she is as an adult. You know, she's in a place now that she's engaged to this lady. I don't remember her name.
She talked about that.
She's in love. She's happy. You know, the new Charlie's Angels movie that she did was a horrible movie. She's good at it. Underwater, it's aliens underwater. Some people like it, some people don't. I enjoyed the movie. I thought she was excellent in that movie. This movie, the movie was fine. It was kind of boring, and it's not a lot happens in it. She is excellent.
She's so compelling.
Like, I would not be surprised if she's nominated for an Oscar for this movie, because I think she is that good in the role.
Yeah.
Like, she's the reason this movie works, because the movie itself is
Yeah, so she did a really good job too. I think capturing her mannerisms because she did study The Crown, but also I think a lot of documentaries she did have a vocal coach to make sure she got the accent correct. It's just really good, and I think one of the things I really enjoy about the movie is we're seeing what's going on, but we're also getting insight into perhaps what she was thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's moments where she just goes crazy, and you bring it back, and like she's still just sitting there quiet, like internalizing all of this stress.
I think where this movie's gonna either work or not work for people, and part of the reason it probably worked better for me is that it wasn't just a straight telling of just boring stuff that she goes to. Is there's a fantasy element where, like you said, you're seeing kind of insights of her thoughts. So there's moments of kind of supernatural, not really supernatural, but that kind of element of things happening or things that aren't actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
So to showcase what she's experiencing and how she sees things or what she does things, that makes the movie a little more entertaining than I think it might have been otherwise. If you're somebody that loves this nonsense, you'll probably love this movie because there's a lot of it in there.
So all the ladies,
there was only one part of the movie outside of her performance. Like there's some dialogue, and yes, there's some stuff in it that makes you be like, why are they still doing this? It's so stupid. It doesn't even make sense, which is frustrating. But I get it. It's the traditions and the cultures of what they do.
It's ridiculous.
But we can all think that about any culture you go through. It's just some of it just doesn't make sense. Like arranged marriages, different things like this, that don't make sense if you're not part of that. But there's like one element of weighing people that I was like compelled by, and there's a lot of mumbling in this movie. So my hearing issue made it issue. So I had to wait till she watched it to say, okay, why were they weighing people? Because it was compelling, and I knew it was something she didn't want to do, and I knew at the end she mocked it. And there's only one element of the movie that I know for a fact is factual from what they've talked about, and it's the end of the movie when her and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually not KFC; it's McDonald's.
It was McDonald's.
So, and KFC apparently is doing a full. They go to get KFC. Spoiler, but KFC apparently is doing a whole promotion.
Oh my gosh! Let's go.
And they're putting out a shirt or a sweater or something that has like instead of like. I don't remember if it's like birds or something. It's chickens, and it's like kind of matching some. I don't know, it's something.
We'll have to go get
a tie into Spencer. It's like a shirt or
Let's
something.
go
Stupid.
get it. Anyways, I think the funniest part to me, which is something that I've seen in some of the other things, is it's cold in the castles or the palaces, and they refuse to turn the heat on. They're like, "We'll bring you another blanket," and they're like, "Just turn the heat on." But they won't.
It's all for her, the queen.
Yes, it's a weird tradition thing. Anywho, I thought it was a
weird
very
element.
interesting movie.
Like, and it's interesting. Real quick before we move on about some of the other characters, is like this is her movie all the way.
Yeah.
The rest of the cast are pretty much supporting players. With some of them have no dialogue. It's like just quick snippets or just looks. Like the queen. The lady that played the queen didn't really do anything other than give dirty looks,
Mm-hmm.
And you never really got a vibe in the movie of her disliking her or judging her because of the situation, or also looking at her saying, I kind of understand what you're dealing with. Yeah,
the queen gave her just one line where she understood, but I mean, that's it. That's all she gave her.
Yeah.
So
it was a lot of that kind of stuff. And I also give them credit. There's a lot of moment, or not a lot of it. There's a moment where they actually go through the gamut of her wardrobe. And it's almost like they shoehorned almost every look you've seen into a moment that probably wasn't part of that time.
That was amazing. The wardrobe was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm that way
you can say all the classic looks of Diana and the photos we've seen over. They probably weren't all from that same weekend, but it was a way to kind of showcase it. And they did it with the poses too. That really, the photos of, because Diana was always like, which is funny. A lot of her, if you really think about it, a lot of her old poses or photos that they took over because of her being shy or obviously being uncomfortable with the situation was very much Kristen Stewart from the Twilight time period.
Correct.
So they kind of captured that.
It's interesting. It's very.
The movie's fine, but Kristen Stewart is amazing in the movie. I'll give her that.
The sweater is being sold for KFC UK. I don't know if I can get one here. I'm gonna try.
I can make a call. I know people there.
Okay, let me know.
If you want a KFC Diana sweater,
wear the heck out of it.
All right.
All right. Well, all the men that are currently watching agree with you, Bobby. They don't get the whole obsession with the Royals, so you are supported. Do you feel validated now that you yelled at your wife?
Rude. I don't know if I feel validated, but
Okay. Let's talk about another movie. Tell me about this movie right here.
Let's do something with no royal people in it.
Yes, absolutely opposite.
All right, this next one is a movie I was kind of excited to see because of the people's involvement. It's a movie called Hell Hath No Fury. First of all, you got Nazis. You got Nazis. I mean, you got good bad guys. The premise of the movie is it's kind of the end of the war, and the young lady you see in the front, I don't have it pulled up. What is her name? I'm sorry. The one you have doesn't have her. Nia Bergman or something Bergman. Yeah, Nina Bergman.
Nina.
And it's her and Daniel Bernhardt who are on the cover on that imagery.
I like the scarf.
So
nice.
And he's the one I interviewed. He's the guy that I interviewed
Okay.
recently. I haven't got to confirm the interview, but I got stories. The premise of the movie is, how to explain it, is the end of the war is they were in a relationship.
Okay.
Her and the Nazi guy. And it's basically one of these things where there was all these females that were taken after the war that had kind of, they weren't Germans. I don't know if they were Jewish people or whatever. Anyway, they had basically had like relationships with some of the Nazi soldiers and stuff, so they were looked at as traitors. So then after the war, they were actually arrested and taken because you were in a relationship and blah, blah, blah. So she was with this guy. So then it kind of jumps ahead. She's taken. Well, she's actually taken, these U.S. soldiers take her because they're trying to find this cache of gold that the Nazis had stolen.
Wow.
So it becomes kind of a heist war movie kind of thing. So it's these Nazi soldiers. It's Costas Mandylor. Not Costas, Louis Mandylor.
I was going to be like, what?
It's his brother, Louis Mandylor.
Okay, because I love me.
And some of these other guys that are working under together to try to get her to tell them where this gold is. And we're under the impression that this guy has been killed since then and all this kind of stuff. So it's a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of back and forth of betrayal. And is she really bad? Is she really good? Is she helping them? Are they? The U.S. soldiers kind of come up like dicks in the movie. But it's because of their greed mentality and they treat her really bad. This lady is amazing in the movie. The movie itself is okay.
But she's cool.
She is great. The guy that directed this movie is Jesse V. Johnson, who is very well known in the action world, doing a lot of Scott Adkins movies.
Yeah.
He did, I think, Triple Threat, which was Scott Adkins, Tony Jaa, Iko Uwais, Tiger Chin. A lot of these guys together.
Love that name, Tiger Chin, by the way.
He did a Vince Megan, Savage Dog. He's an Accident Man, all those things. So when I see his name attached to a movie, I want to see it.
Yeah.
You had Daniel Bernhardt, who is, like says, the Nazi in the picture that most of you, he's very huge in the stunt world, fight choreography and action stuff. But most of you might know him as one of the agents from the Matrix movies. He took over Van Damme's role in the Bloodsport franchise for Bloodsport 2, 3, and 4. He's in Nobody. He's did a bunch of stuff. He's big, more behind the scenes nowadays, but he does these roles. Sadly, I had to come to terms in knowing that if he's playing some Nazi, he's likely not jump kicking somebody. I crossed my fingers.
Did you tell him? Hey,
I did tell him this. I crossed my fingers and hoped for it, but it sadly didn't happen. But there's still a ton of action in the movie. It's a good take on that war. It's a lower budget film. It's not a big budget. It's one of those I think I might have enjoyed more the second time had I was able to let go of the fact that I wanted Daniel Bernhardt to karate fight. That was my own issue. I had to let that go. And
did you tell him this when you
I
talked
did
to
tell
him?
him this.
Okay.
So anyway, it's available now, but when I interviewed him, I got the interview before this movie. I haven't had a chance to actually get the interview put up yet, so I apologize. I've been a fan of Daniel Bernhardt for years. And there's a lot of these martial artists, actor guys that I'm huge fans of that most people don't have any idea who they are.
Right.
And I don't expect them to. I understand they're not big name celebrities.
Yeah.
Him, David Bradley, who took over the American Ninja roles, Donna Dragon Wilson, who more people know who he is now. Cynthia Rothrock, most people know who she is at this point. Martin Costco, who's gotten bigger because of his TV roles and his Iron Chefs and all this kind of stuff. A lot of these people were my Bruce Lees growing up. And ironically, I just did a Bloodsport marathon.
Yeah.
A month or two ago.
He was in Bloodsport. This guy was in Bloodsport.
He was in Bloodsport 2, 3, and 4.
3, and
he came in and took over the Van Damme role. But he wasn't Van Damme role. He was a different character. But,
yeah.
he took over the franchise. And of course, I had a question to ask about that too. But the coolest thing about the interview is outside of being excited to watch it, I got to do a Zoom interview with him, which I was going to post a Zoom video and just go from there. But there's some personal stuff in there that information and things he gave me that I don't want in there. So we either need to edit it or I'm going to have to do it as an actual text thing we do. So, but anyway, it wasn't like secret stuff. It was just like stuff like emails and things that people don't need to know. But the best part about it is I've started doing interviews. When I interview anybody in the martial arts world, I do it from my home dojo, which is my gym that's got our punching bags and there's posters and there's equipment and weapons. That's where we train. And it always sparks that discussion. So,
which is good.
You know, when I've interviewed Mark Dacascos and Ken Kasuki and all these other people, as soon as they see it, they're like, ooh, what's like that? They don't. Same thing with Sean Patrick Flannery, because he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy now, and he's like, ooh, I see you got some mats, you know. And so when he came on the screen, he was one of those ones, like of all the people I interviewed, he's one of those that I've been there. I've watched his career. You know, if you've seen John Wick, the first John Wick, he's the one that John Wick fights in the nightclub, and I'm like, Daniel Bernhardt, you know, he's that. I'm doing this guy, you know. He's one of those, and then you're like,
I'm like,
okay, dear, you know. Thank you. But he came on the screen, and the cool thing about it is he came up and he goes, oh, same thing that I hope for, and he was like, from looking around the room, you're either, he's like, you're a Taekwondo or karate or looks Taekwondo guy. I'm like, you are correct, because I have a Korean flag and American flag. And he goes, oh, what belt? And I told him what belt. And he's like, seriously? And he's like, bow to him. Then he actually stood up and he goes, I bow to you, sir.
Aww,
because he goes,
so
I outrank him in Taekwondo. He goes, so I show you respect. I'm like, no, sit down.
Dude.
But it's silly, because we had a few conversations. I mentioned to him, like, hey, I was very upset. I was so hoping I was going to get to see some Nazi jump kicking. And he goes, yeah. He goes, but it'd be a great movie. People should watch that movie. I don't know if that movie get made, but it'd be awesome to watch. He's super nice guy. I got to hear about his martial arts career, stuff he's shooting. You know, he is gonna show up in the new Matrix movie again.
That's fun. Yes, it's on his credits already.
But I also got to tell him, you know, I had to.
You've been watching.
I try not to fanboy out, but when it's those kind of people that have a personal meaning to me, I told him, I was like, people like him and Van Damme and Don Wilson and Dacascos and all these guys, outside of my real martial arts training and instructors, they were my instructors. Like most people were Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. Don't get me wrong, I love them both, but I was Van Damme first, and because that's who I discovered first. And then the Bruce Lee stuff came back to me because I was that different generation. He was still popular in the movies, but I hadn't really seen them. It was the flash of Van Damme's kicking and stuff that sucked me in, and then I discovered Bruce Lee. And my dad was huge Chuck Norris, so it was a Chuck Norris world. But there's people like this that I discovered that had more impact for me, because, you know, it felt like Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee and those guys were my dad's people.
Yeah.
You know, I saw them. My dad showed them to me. I'm like, these are awesome. Van Damme was mine and my dad's. This guy, my dad had no idea who he was. When I started seeing him, ooh, you know, and I read all the movies. And so I was able to tell him how much he meant as an instructor as well as an actor, and kind of connected. And asked him, why did he make Bloodsport 4? And that movie could not have been a Bloodsport movie. And he's like, no. He goes, I didn't want to make that movie. So anyway.
The Dark Kumite.
Yes, Dark Kumite. Did you look that up, or did you just know that?
I remember because you've told me how horrible. No, sorry, it wasn't horrible. That was not a Bloodsport movie. I wonder why they made that.
I have to tell you. So a lot of times in these Bloodsport, Blood Fist series, which there's like 8 or 9 or 10 of those movies,
I just know,
is a perfect example. It's Don Wilson movies, right? Don the Dragon Wilson made a Blood Fist series. The first 2, maybe 3 movies, I don't remember, he plays the same character, right?
Yeah.
After that, every single movie still stars Don Wilson playing a different character in a completely different story, but still called Bloodfest. And what they did is they basically capitalized on a franchise. They knew these movies were successful. Let's say Bloodfist 5, Bloodfist 7, Bloodfist 8.
Do they even connect?
And when they're making the movie, they have nothing to do with that. But when they finally go to market them and make them, they're like, hey. So when they did, he played this character in Bloodsport 2 and 3. He was the same character.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodsport 4, Dark Kumite came out. Completely different character, nothing to do with the Kumite.
I know, and you just watch and that's why it's like, in my head.
What? You know? And so I assumed it had to be one of those. So I remember I told him, I'm like, I said, I don't, not trying to be disrespectful. I said, I'm going to start off. I love all these movies. Even the bad one to me is a good one. If I got to watch you kick and punch and do things, I was like, but Bloodsport 4 was not supposed to be a Bloodsport movie. He goes, no, it was not. He goes, it was another one that was capitalizing on the genre. What we did. He goes, a movie. I told him. He goes, in the middle of filming. He goes, what are we doing? He goes, what is happening in this movie? But he was contractually obligated to make it.
You just make the movie.
He goes, but it also made him understand different things and directions he wanted to do in his career and what he did. And, you can also find him. He's one of the guys that gets beat up in the bus and nobody.
He's in everything.
And if you look closely, fun fact, in that bus sequence, it's him is one of the thugs.
Yeah.
And the other guy is the guy that's in the Kickboxer remake, Elaine Moosey, who's the main Van Damme role in the new Kickboxer.
Yes.
Both of them are two of the thugs in that train sequence.
Cool.
Because they both have kind of the same idea.
There you go.
Anyway, Hell Life New Fury is in theaters and I think on demand or whatever now.
Okay.
So it's a decent movie. I know I went off on a karate tangent because I can't help it. He's in it. But much love to Wago USA for hooking me up talking. It meant a lot.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right. We got two things.
Pick one.
And then we'll talk about that later.
Oh, let's talk about the other one first.
This one?
Not that one. We'll save
this
that
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
going here.
Set that one up.
All right. So this is the new Tom Hanks movie. It is available on Apple TV Plus at the moment.
Yes.
And it is called Finch. The man's name is Finch. That's what you need to know. Basically feels a little post-apocalyptic. And what you see in the trailer is he seems to be the only human around, and he builds a robot friend. And they're on an adventure, I feel like, to go see if there are other survivors.
To be honest, it's very much Castaway in a post-apocalyptic world instead of an island.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
And it's
so this time he has the things to interact with and interact back as opposed to
just the volleyball.
Yeah.
So
Wilson.
Yes. So and there's a dog. There's a little dog. So important to this movie.
Yes, right.
Dog is super cute, and I want one of those.
This is actually Tom Hanks' second feature with Apple TV Plus.
Yes, because the other
Greyhound,
was that
war movie, which was right around the beginning of COVID.
And I was like, I don't like these war movies. Oh my gosh, I was crying at that movie. It was so good. So yes, thank you, Apple TV Plus.
I don't know if this one was a COVID purchase. I just know that Apple TV bought the rights to it and did it as a distribution.
Maybe they just want everything Tom Hanks.
Yeah, so I mean it's on there, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, I'd seen the trailer and stuff, but one of the things I love about Tom Hanks is he plays everything.
Yes.
Like I'm only thing I'm still waiting on is Tom Hanks open a karate movie. Like I don't think this is the only thing he hasn't done yet.
Didn't he do some of this in like when he was Buffy and Hildegard?
Anyway, I just like because one of my favorite Tom Hanks. You remember one of my favorite Tom, or what is your favorite Tom Hanks movie? I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh, I know. You know what that is.
What is it? Forrest Gump.
No, when he's riding the scooter.
Oh yes. Larry Crown.
Larry Crown. It's spectacular.
Now I just went blank. But
that is my
one
favorite.
of my favorite is the mob movie he did.
Yes.
Where he played. It's based on
that comic.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel. Somebody else share it, but I love that because that was one of the first times I saw Tom Hanks do something that wasn't Tom Hanks.
Yes.
And he was killing people, and I was like, what? So this movie might be the most positive and kind of uplifting post-apocalyptic movie I've seen.
And still sad.
It's sad, but it's not that dark, violent, depressing
that was a good movie too.
World that you normally see in these kind of genre.
True.
Because normally it's everybody's out to kill everybody. Everybody is depressed and sad, and everybody's. This one, it seemed kind of lighthearted.
It was.
Because it was about just survival, but friendship and relationships and things like this, and discovery, and there's a lot of stuff, and it's just as much the robots story as it is the.
And that's one of the things that you and I were like, props to Tom Hanks, because he did the interview on Jimbo Kimball, and he's like said that man name like 3 or 4 times. The guy that played the robot in the green suit, essentially, he said his name like 3 or 4 times because it was so important to him that this man get.
Go look and see who it is. You've seen the guy before.
Credit.
I put him on there.
Caleb Landry Jones.
Go look at who that is. Because you're going to be that guy?
It says from Game of Thrones. What? I was trying to find this movie for
it's
you.
not. He wasn't given. The director worked. Oh.
Caleb Landry Jones. Boom. Oh, hold on. Hold on.
She's making a discovery.
Oh my gosh.
She's at the Discovery Zone.
I like when I make discoveries. It's this guy. What is it? Who? From Garland, Texas. He's from Garland, Texas.
I know.
Oh, X-Men. Yes, that kid.
Banshee, the redhead Banshee kid, yeah.
He's from Garland? Well, hey there, Caleb Jones. Welcome. That's where you're from. That's your hometown.
I mean, Garland, Texas.
Hey.
No, this isn't from the zombie apocalypse. This is just Garland.
Garland, yeah.
What movie is that?
That's that zombie thing with...
Zombie Land.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
What's his name?
All right, moving on. What did you think of this movie?
I enjoyed this movie a lot, and it just clicked to me what he was doing when he was uploading all that stuff. It was for him. Anyways, it just clicked to me. Like today, I'm so dumb. I'm like, why is he doing that? Anyways, it's interesting that I guess one of the last potentially only survivors of the apocalypse is a genius that's building robots. Because if I was the last survivor, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like just trying to find food.
Well, it's interesting
to survive.
Because the first half of the movie,
he was like so calm in this.
The first half of the movie, he had created his own little world.
Yeah.
In this bunker.
He had a safe house bunker.
Yeah, he went out with him and his dog and go do stuff, or he went out because the dog couldn't go outside because of radiation. But he'd go back inside and he had his routine, feeding his dog in his little house and his thing. He came home from work and then he would just work and he was fine with it. He had fully accepted this is life now.
Yeah.
You know,
listen to some music and stuff with the dog and have dinner with the dog.
And then it kind of shifts from that mentality of once the robot comes into play to kind of a road journey movie, which then you start discovering the truth of everything that happened. And there's even a backstory for the dog.
Yes,
everything
is so
kind
sad.
of come full force, and then you hear the backstory of the dog. That's when some of the sadness aspect comes in. But it's still not depressing sad. It's still uplifting from the mentality of what he had to deal with and to how the dog filled that gap and helped him move forward, you know. And then even the end direction where it's going, it's kind of, because it doesn't really have an ending per se, because there's no ending to this, you know. But it's more about the way they continue in the preparation of what all of us, you realize the whole thing was building towards this one moment. Correct.
And that to me was amazing and uplifting. And it's like, I'm going to cry a little, you know, and it becomes a different kind of journey story for other people or whatever. And then I'm like, really? Like, how is this possible? But it's possible. But that's what I'm telling you. How is it possible that one of the last survivors is a genius?
Because he's smarter than everyone else.
I guess. And then you don't really know how long it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I think, though, the dog story was compelling to me because it brings back what we always know. The most dangerous creature on the planet are the humans. You know, because, you know, he tells the story of what's happening. I don't want to spoil what happened, but then the reaction of the people to what has happened.
It's not what happened. It's what people did because of what happened.
Yeah, and
it's the same idea of when we run out of toilet paper, we run out of gas.
Oh my
gosh. The issue that occurred is not the reasoning. It's the greed.
It's the people.
Hate. It's the people. When somebody says, you get one news report, hey, everybody be careful, we're going to run low on gas. And everybody goes and buys all the gas. And now we're out of gas.
Walmart bag.
Yeah, now we're out of gas. Where we wouldn't have been out of gas.
Exactly.
Had you just stayed home and shut up.
This is why I think sometimes social media and all the access to information, it's too much.
Yeah, there's too many
people
with a voice that should not have a voice.
And bring it back.
My biggest thing is I wish, like, had we not had this in our website and my art, all this stuff, that's what I predominantly use social media for. If I didn't have that stuff, I would probably leave all of it behind altogether because I don't understand. As annoying as it used to be, I don't know why people can't just go back to sharing pictures of their kids, sharing pictures of some stupid dog video, posting the most annoying post ever. I've had a flat tire. I'll never make it to work on time. But you had time to stop and make this post. You know, change your tire and go to work. You know, but the annoyance of that is the mundane mentality of what social media should be.
Yeah.
It should not be about, you know, none of these things were created for what they're used for now. They were created to connect with people you don't have contact anymore, to share nonsense, share happiness, you know, and now it's all turned into this anger and hate and platforms for agendas and every side. I'm not talking about one thing. It's everybody, you know, and it's a bunch of people want to fight.
Yeah.
And you saw that happening years ago when, or at least I did, when people would get mad because you didn't like their photo.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you like my photo? Why don't you like me anymore? I'm like, I don't like anybody's photo for this exact reason. If I like yours, then this person's going to say, like, I've had somebody one tell me, well, you commented on this person's photo, but you didn't say anything about my photo when I dressed up. You didn't tell me I was pretty, and we've been friends. And I'm like, I might have clicked it by accident because I've liked photos and people comment, "Oh, you like the photo?" And I'm like,
yeah, because you normally don't like anything.
Well, during the pandemic, I changed and started liking a lot of stuff on purpose because people whine too much. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you know I'm acknowledging you.
Acknowledgement.
I'm acknowledging you. It's like I'm seeing somebody. I'm like, good job, existing.
Wow.
You know, it's Facebook and all these things have become everybody deserves a trophy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, and it annoys me to no end. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this movie.
Your favorite movie was Road to Perdition.
Yes.
Okay, someone says their favorite movie is Money Pit. That's
Money Pit
funny
is funny.
one. That's a good
I
one.
also am a huge fan of Bachelor Party.
So funny. That's
Bachelor
way
Party
back in the day.
Yeah.
I do like Buffy and Hildegard, so I mean, I'm stuck on bosom buddies.
Tom Hanks is a genius actor, but I do love some of his earlier stuff. You know, the Turners and Hooches. And, Splash
The Burbs.
The Burbs. Some of the Burbs is so good.
Oh man, I'm looking back at these things. It's so funny.
Mazes and Monsters is the lesser known D&D movie he made.
That's funny.
It's like this cult classic kind of thing.
Splash. I mean, everybody can know that. Oh, so fun. Anyways, Tom Hanks is the most beloved American in the entire world.
And somebody will still hate him.
I don't know. How could you hate Tom Hanks? He's done nothing wrong.
He's one of those.
He's been with the same
drinks baby's blood,
and
he's one of those that they say he drinks baby's blood.
No, he's already starting to look older.
You know, they have to do that to keep up appearances.
Oh Lord, is he secretly a vampire?
Oh yes, and and he went to the island with a guy and all that. He's one of the people that supposedly take the babies and this. Anytime somebody's too liked,
wow,
they start adding stuff to find. I'm not saying he doesn't have his flaws. I'm sure he's done some messed up stuff, but
he seems to be just like a normal, regular, cool dude.
If you can't, go look up his appearance on Jimmy Kimmel. Promoting Finch. It is.
He's so fun.
Super entertaining because not just because of what he's saying, is you could tell he's excited to be back on a talk show and out of his house
with people.
Yeah. It's like,
he's probably like, okay, Rita, this is enough.
Yeah, he goes through stuff talking about this movie. He does like a little homage to Peter Scolari, who passed away from
I was going to cry. Oh, poor Peter Scolari.
So
I feel so bad because I was telling him, like, where the heck is Peter Scolari on my show? He's been missing for the last 4 episodes. And then you're like, oh, yeah, he just passed away. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I felt
you did this.
No, I didn't. And, because then...
No, I didn't.
Because then we found out he passed away. I'm like, oh, that's why he hasn't been on my show recently.
All about you.
And then they just replaced him with some other dude.
Somebody else playing the same role?
Yes. Well, it's essentially, yeah, father, whoever.
I mean, is it a different father or is it the same?
No, I think it's the same thing. They just kept going. I guess he must have been ill.
They probably had to because they were like probably mid-story, and sometimes that happens.
Like, I know. He's so good. I mean, it's not like he was a major character, but he was important in the show. Yeah. I'm talking about the CBS show Evil. You should watch it. Anyhow, Finch, available now on Apple TV+. Check it. Check it.
Job.
Okay, here we go.
Let's travel back to the world of Marvel.
Okay,
for their latest film, Eternals. In my opinion, the biggest gamble Marvel has taken to date. When they came out with Iron Man, it was a big gamble. He doesn't look like it now, but at the time, most mainstream people didn't know who Iron Man was. Robert Downey Jr. was no longer.
The only thing I know is I am Iron Man.
That's an Ozzy Osbourne.
I know. That's what I was going to go with.
At the time, the beloved Robert Downey Jr. was not beloved. He was mostly known for his drug problems and it was tabloid issues and
coming back from rehab.
And then of course the success of that kicked off everything we have today. But then Guardians of the Galaxy announced. A lot of us thought this movie was going to be trash. It was not.
Man, it got you by the heart.
I was the first one that came up and said, why would they make a Guardians of the Galaxy movie? And I was completely wrong and loved that movie. And now we have Eternals.
Yes.
Kind of the next big gamble, if you will.
Yeah.
Directed by Chloe Zhao. Is that right?
Yes.
Who just won an Oscar for Nomadland, which is a brilliant movie. This is one of those series of Jack Kirby comics think it spun out of the New Gods and all that stuff. I was never really a big fan of the Eternals, of the comics and stuff. They were the kind of characters that just weren't. They weren't really superheroes or anything, so it just didn't connect to me. So I don't have tons of knowledge. I know their existence and the characters.
You're hitting the thing.
I know their existence and who the characters are and all that kind of stuff. I just never really cared that much. So even from the first trailers for this movie, I was never been overly excited. I was more excited about the cast they picked to play them and the fact that where are we going to go in the new Marvel world than I was about the property itself. You know nothing about the Eternals.
I know nothing. And in a way, I think, again, this helps me.
And you were annoyed with the trailers because you're like, where were these people during Thanos? What's going on? And, and then, of course, you get a little explanation, so you were a little okay.
Yeah. I think this is how I've felt throughout the entire Marvel thing we've been through the past however many years it's been now.
20 years or something now, I think. Or 10
I think in a way it benefits me or other people who don't know a lot about the characters, who aren't as invested in the comics, because ultimately, if you go watch a comic book movie, you're going to be like, that's not how it really was, or that's not what the book is.
Well, and I've gotten away from
so
that.
I haven't had to deal with that in my own mind of, oh, I wish it would have been this. I've just accepted the story for how it is. So I've come to love the characters I see on film,
right?
Which then leads me to like, let me go read and figure it out.
Well, and it's one of those I've never understood how the fans haven't separated it years ago.
Correct. This is
and
the
said,
movie
look,
universe.
This isn't the comic. This is the movie universe. They're not going to do everything the same. If nothing else, the early stuff of not having the license to do the characters, like you couldn't do Infinity War justice. To be honest, despite they did a great job, but there's a lot of characters and story things missing due to lack of ownership and things like this. And there's elements of stories that they've changed. There's things they've done differently. There's a lot of the stories that were done in these movies with the titles. That was not what happened in the comic. I let that go years ago.
You have to.
Going into Eternals, I had no idea what we were going to do other than the existence of the characters, how they were going to attach it to the rest of the universe, if they were going to try to. I was kind of happy that it's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is attached. It is mentioned of Thanos. It's mentioned the Avengers and some of the characters, so it's in the same universe. But it's still very much its own thing. I also think it is the least Marvel-looking movie of any Marvel movie that's been made.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing to kind of put some new life into it. I also think it's my least favorite Marvel movie that's been made.
Yeah, and just based on what I've been reading and seeing, I think because it's brand new and because unlike the other series, we don't have time with each character to learn about them and then build the team together. We're kind of just thrown into this new, like, hey, here's everybody, figure it out in like 10, 15 minutes. It feels like a lot of information. It feels like it's rushed. It doesn't feel like the others, which, and I was reading just some articles and things that whoever took on Eternals, not Chloe's out, anybody, they were going to have a little hard time.
Battle no matter what.
Yes, because we're being introduced to a whole new cast of people that we're supposed to care about. And
you're dealing with 10 characters that we got to learn about in 2 hours.
Yeah. Whereas every other movie, like every single character had a movie, and then they got introduced to someone else, and then they built a team. So that's one thing. I do think, like you were saying, it doesn't look like the others. There are no people in capes flying around in shiny suits. All of them, even with their suits on, their colors are muted. If you notice, it's very earth tones.
And that irritated some people because some like Icarus is supposed to be blue, red, and gold. And they took all the red out.
Yeah.
And somebody did a side-by-side comparison and added the red back in. And look, this is how simple they could have done this. And those are the kind of things that do annoy me sometimes about their costume. It's like, what was the choice to get rid of that when it wasn't really a necessity to get rid of that? You could have scored major by, I know, but you could have scored major by look, I look just like the comic for the most part. And that would have been a level of thing. It didn't matter to me either way because I wasn't that invested, but.
And I'm wondering if it was an actual choice to keep these people more muted, because even the whole movie itself is a darker tone. I won't say it's dark, but it's like a earthy brown tone, whereas the other ones are very bright and there's lots of light and sunshine.
I think that's colors. Just Chloe Zhao thing because you think about Nomadland, looks exactly the same, and she's also she's an style. Here's one of the things it's hit and miss. I think with Marvel. Marvel's been a really good job of bringing in. Directors that may not be the directors you would think should make this movie. Sometimes unknown talent to play characters, sometimes unknown writers or directions or whatever. And I think it's a plus and a credit to their creation and creativity. But I also think it's a hindering some elements because your world building, you can't have too much of a unique style presence. Like, I don't think somebody say like Quentin Tarantino could make a Marvel movie. He could probably make a damn good one.
Yeah.
But it would look like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
There would be like 10 feet in it.
This looks like a Chloe Zhao
There would be
movie.
10 people's feet in it too.
Yeah,
can't.
this looks like a Chloe Zhao movie.
True.
It does not look like a Marvel movie, which isn't a bad thing.
No, it's fine.
Because people have also had that argument of we need something fresh and different in the Marvel universe.
Here
but
you
then
go.
you get it, and everybody complains.
Yeah, I don't have any. I mean, I have a few things where I thought the pacing was a little weird in some
Very slow.
spots. I feel like I wanted more time with my homegirl,
Usama?
with Salma Hayek. But I understand it. I just maybe I don't know. Maybe it could have been told in different.
There were
order.
elements that it felt like a lot of the not a lot, but some of the characters were sidelined for no reason.
Yes, like one person's missing in this one fight scene.
Yeah, they
and then this
build them
other
up,
person's missing
and
over here.
they're one of the most entertaining parts of the entire movie. And it's almost like, look, we let you steal the movie, so we're going to take you out of the final battle and let these other people shine. Okay, fine, but why not? I want to see them be able to do more than just these little things. So like the action sequences, the fights and the powers and stuff, that was very Marvel. It looked great. I did not like the main villain, not the Celestials, but the main one on Earth that are part of the Deviants. Yeah. It felt like just a bad CGI villain. And I think it would have been great had we not gotten CGI characters like Thanos or other characters that look like people, they look like they belong, like you look like these two people could have a conversation. This looked like a CGI character.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of two different ones, either Steppenwolf from Justice League or the one from Wonder Woman. And they had that just very fake video game CGI look instead of,
I get what you're saying.
Instead of a real character. Before that, when they're like the creature dog type form, they were cool.
Yes.
But once it became more of a person look to it, without being a spoiler, it just looks faker to me. So
yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I think
that's not what we're used to.
Yeah, and they seem to be, as you were mentioning earlier, is because they're dealing with so many characters, and they're also characters that have been around since the dawn of time. It's bouncing around a lot through the time period, which was cool, seeing how they had effects on what they were doing and how they didn't really change things and avoided things. But that also made you not able to connect with anyone.
Correct.
They're also not characters that are very relatable because they're all gods. So they're all above you in every way.
They've tried to, in a way.
I know, but
they've tried to blend to society.
I'm talking about as a viewer, not the people in the movie. I'm talking about as a viewer. It's hard to relate to them
because them as a god.
Yeah, everybody there was better than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not like they portrayed them as better than you, but you already know that they're above your status of who you are.
Yes.
Your existence isn't really meaning anything to them. Diversity-wise, I give them full credit.
Yes.
Because,
I know some people didn't like that. They're like, oh, this is too much. You're pushing the whole thing. But if you think about it, this is what I was thinking. What you've always thought is then there's a God that's representative of every type of people on Earth.
Yeah.
So, like, you have the Asian guy, the Indian guy, the Mayan princess. I mean, black, white, Asian, woman, female, male. So I think you've got the equal representation of everyone, because this is similar to what you're always thinking, like, hey, if God came, he would want to look like each individual group that you would relate to.
Yeah, or you would do things that would relate more to their culture.
Correct.
So that's my firm belief on religion is
that's fine.
We have our God, and then Buddha and all the things aren't necessarily their anti-opposing religions. I think the different cultures have different belief systems because of the way their lives are. Everybody has their own belief. That's just
okay.
Mine.
And I thought it was interesting.
Because on the foundation, all the religions are the same.
Yeah. Well, and in this one, if they were eternal sent here to, help the Earth people, then they would need to in some way relate to the people they're talking to. So anyways, I liked the diversity aspect of it. I think I was always iffy on Angelina Jolie, what that was going to be like.
Really
she did actually really well, surprisingly. I don't see her as a superhero person, but
no, but
okay.
But she's. I had no doubt she could do it. She did Tomb Raider. She did Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We knew she could carry action. I wasn't sure how her persona would hold up because she has always had that kind of. I'm not a huge fan of hers. It depends on the role, but she always has had that role like I'm better than everyone else.
That works here.
But that's why it fits here. But it's ironic that she plays the
this.
character that's more about killing and destroying than anything else,
Mm-hmm.
not about I'm better than you philosophically.
Correct.
You know.
Anyways, I liked it. I enjoyed it. There are, to me, some pacing issues. It's slow at times. Then it picks up. We got some action. I think my favorite is this dude. Do we know he's in it? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, we know Kit Harington's in the trailer.
Okay, I love him.
Most people don't know who he is, but the character is. But I know.
Oh, but they know who Kit Harington
is. They know Jon Snow is. Most people do. Some people don't. I do. I'm glad I mentioned it to you in the movie while we were watching it.
Yes, sir.
And then I'm glad I've seen other people. Now there's big controversies. There's a couple of controversies with this movie.
Oh.
Some of it's international market issues.
Oh.
Some of it is just people complaining. Like one of them is there's a gay couple in it, and there's some markets that are Marvel and Disney have refused to edit it, so they're like, we're not showing it here.
That's fine.
And there's some people that's like, oh, they had to force a gay couple. But the funny one to me is the sex scene. This is the first Marvel sex scene. And remember during the movie, I was like,
you were like, this is the first Marvel sex scene.
They're having sex in a Marvel movie. And I've seen a couple articles pop up of like the ramifications of a sex scene in a Marvel movie. Could this start being in the new norm? You know, some people are over the top about it. Other people are just like, we just didn't expect that, you know, because it's not a nudity graphic scene. It's just, we've seen make-out sessions, we've seen romance, but we haven't seen actual relations.
Okay, my favorite person is this man right now.
This man, about the guy that's with
the ballet.
Yeah.
His name is Harish Patel.
With Kamel.
Yes, he is his. All you need to know is he's his ballet, and he's with him, and he is hilarious. And I love this man. I need to go find out everything.
And just so you know, they released. I don't know why Marvel did this, other than having it in the trailer, but they released a clip of the Bollywood scene of Kamel dancing and singing, and it got this backlash as well of, oh great, now they're shoehorning in this stupid musical nonsense. It makes sense for the story. It is not what people think it is. It's not just ridiculous nature. It's who that character is and what they've done with their life. So I actually liked that was in there like that. I thought it was kind of a funny twist.
I thought it was fun, but just give it a chance, okay? I'm going to go find out.
This is one of the movies, despite it being my least favorite, I say that with the statement of, to me so far, even the Marvel movies I haven't been a huge fan of, I still like.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be one that grows on me over time.
Do you have a favorite Marvel movie?
Winter Soldier's still at the top.
Really?
And
has survived the test of time.
Shang-Chi is kind of next to it now, but that's more the connection of the martial art character. But Winter Soldier, and at the time, Winter Soldier was one of the least Marvel-looking movies because it has more of a spy thriller. But Winter Soldier, to me, is still my favorite Marvel movie today.
Wow, I'm trying to look. Okay, I like the bad ones, obviously.
You like Thor: The Dark World, which it's been getting a lot of talk now because
I like it.
Eternals is classified as the lowest rated. Probably they're saying some of the articles have come out. I think this is hard, saying that Marvel may have its first genuine flop. Financially, it didn't make quite as much. It still made $70-something million in a pandemic world. That some people think is not. I think it was ranked that was going to make about 80-something, but the cinema score on Rotten Tomatoes is very low.
And, it's actually rotten. Like it's the only movie. Marvel movie
and they said it even Thor: Dark World got a higher audience rating than this one.
I also like Doctor Strange. I'm really into Doctor Strange. And
I liked Doctor Strange when it came out. I still like it. And at the time, because of all the Asian culture and Scott Adkins, Doctor Strange was my favorite. Became one of my favorites because it was the martial arts movie of Marvel.
And then
Shang-Chi kicked it out of the way and said, "You want a martial arts movie?
I like Shang-Chi too. I think I like those more than like your Iron Mans and Captain Americas. I like all your secondary characters more. I don't know why. Well, I don't know if they're secondary to other people. They may be your number one. Sorry.
No, they're some of them are secondary. Like you have your big group like Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk. Those are like your big ones.
I like the other Hulk movie that's not part of this universe.
Eric Bana one.
Yes, I like that.
That movie does not hold up. I love that movie when it came out.
Is that the one with Liv Tyler?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that movie when it came out. I watched it. No, Liv Tyler is the one with Edward Norton.
Oh, okay, no.
Jennifer Connelly's in the other one.
Jennifer Connelly. That's the one.
I love that movie when it came out. I watched it numerous times, and when I went back and rewatched it, I'm like, this movie does not hold up.
And I mean, and I think I like the Spider-Man movies too, just because that kid is so endearing.
I do like
He
Spider-Man.
is just he,
So let me
he's
ask
like
you
a
this.
sweet kid.
Okay, so you have we're talking about you have your random ones that you like or one-offs of your favorites or whatever. If you had to pick one series, so you have the Captain America trilogy, you have the Thor trilogy, which is going to be more than a trilogy. You got Spider-Man ones, you got Guardians of the Galaxy ones, and you had to pick them like that.
Ugh.
Which of those would be the series that you had to sit down and watch? Which one would be the one you would want to watch?
I think maybe, honestly, probably. Oh, what the heck are you talking about? I think maybe Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
Yeah, because I like that they're not your typical superhero. They're like normal people with issues and they're quirky.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the green chick and the blue chick and the raccoon. Yeah.
I wish you learned somebody's names.
Gamora.
Well, it's baffling to me, but
Zoe Saldana.
I love all three of the Captain America movies.
I know you do.
And I'm not a Captain America fan.
I'm gonna be with you. I am not a Captain America fan at all, and that's why I would not pick them.
Well, I'm not a fan from the comic. Like, from the movies, I've loved him in the movies.
He's okay. He's too and so, but then that makes him not understand everyone at the beginning. But then he completely turns.
Yelling at me.
Sorry. Then he completely turns, and then I'm like, well, where the heck have you been this whole time when everyone was dying? Come on.
How far in the thing do you think when he turns?
I don't know.
That was the entire aspect of Civil War was him turning against everything he believed.
I know, but then at that point he was turning on his friends. So it's like, hello.
Or were they turning on him?
No, it was him. When Black Widow goes with Iron Man, you know it's you. Anyways, I'm just not a fan
after you've
of
now
that.
seen what Black Widow went through, you know that she's got her issues.
She's got issues, but I liked her movie too.
I did too.
And I'm really starting to like Loki after watching that whole Loki series.
Did you not like him before?
No. He was such a jerk.
Oh, you didn't like him because he was a jerk?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he's supposed to be a jerk.
And then I think the other reason why I'm really I'm going to go watch Doctor Strange again, because after watching that Elsewhere, what was it called?
What If?
What If? Oh my gosh. Poor Doctor Strange.
Did you say poor Doctor Strange?
Yes. For us too, with what he does, but still. Anywho, check out the new Marvel movie, Eternals. It's in theaters now.
Decide for yourself, and there is 2 after-credit scenes.
Stay for everything.
What's weird is I read an article from, I don't remember if it's Kevin Feige or one of the other producers, but they said this is the first time there's really no plan for a sequel. They made this movie. Normally Marvel has always planned out, okay, here's where we want the character to go, here's what we're going to do next, here's the plan if it's successful, that kind of thing, and it comes out and they immediately go into the next plan. They said this one, it was made, which baffles when you see the movie, because it said this one was made to be kind of its own thing and not really go anywhere.
But it looks like it's going to connect some other things.
Well, because there's an ending to it that's clearly a cliffhanger type. There's an end of the story, but then there's a next step that's kind of the cliffhanger leading into something else. And then your 2 after credit sequences, because that's not even the credit sequence, your 2 after credit sequences, one introduces new characters that seems to connect to what happens, and then the other one is leading towards some other stuff. And the last end of credit sequence, if you're not a hardcore comic fan, you're not going to understand any of it.
Yeah, I was just like, okay. You were like, ooh, is this whatever? I'm just like,
I'd explain it to her. The other one, you'll be excited, probably, but you still probably won't know what to understand it either. But it will be interesting to see with all the different multiverse stuff and the different movies that are coming out. I can see how they could take some of these people and sprinkle them around, and make them, instead of making more Eternals movies, I can see them as becoming background or secondary characters to everybody else.
Yeah.
And continue on. But if not, it is what it is.
It's fine. I got to see Salma Hayek. What else? That makes me happy. Yeah, that makes me happy. I'm fine with that, girl. Shoot. That's all I need in my life.
All right.
Okay. Next.
I think that was it, right?
Yeah. Did you want to talk about that thing?
Oh, we can if you want. You can tell everybody. It's up to you.
All right. So this weekend we went to go see the Van Gogh Immersive experience. Here's a few photos. It was actually a lot of fun. It's just going through like a normal art museum, but a lot of the paintings are actually just projected onto blank canvas. Yeah, it's so cool.
Like they put actual canvas, empty blank canvases on the walls, and then they're light projected, but you look like you're looking at the artwork.
Yeah. It's like, how cool is that? But because obviously they're not going to bring all the Van Gogh paintings.
Yeah, but you can't steal it.
Correct. So it was really cool. And Yeah, then you go into this one area that's like this big immersive.
It's like a crack house.
It's crazy because the paintings are like on the walls and they're changing
It's
colors
the
and stuff's like
full-
all over you.
I say this
Projection.
I say this joking but serious at the same time. It's because there's bean bags and there's benches and there's people are just in the room laying around staring at the ceiling and the
On
walls.
the walls.
Because it's alive and it's his artwork coming alive and moving around and transitioning and also it is the full place. If you're a partaker of the weed, then that would be your place.
It's really cool. Then they had a VR.
But it's also very relaxing.
It was. It was calming, and there's some nice music and some what's the thing when they're talking? Some narration. I had to think my words. And then there's a VR experience. Sorry, I couldn't get my candies open. There's a VR experience, which made me a little bit nauseous because they'd run you and they'd be like, "Stop," and then you'd be walking, it's like, "Stop." But it was pretty cool too. So just kind of
You're
like a
literally
day.
like walking through on the countryside and like in Italy or something, or Germany or wherever he was at.
Italy.
And you come to these different places, which were actually
Some paintings.
Yeah, they were like the inspirations for that specific painting, and then the painting forms onto this wood frame, and you see it. And
That's pretty cool.
It was interesting.
And then there was an area where you could stop and color and draw. So we enjoyed that area because, you know, artists over here. So that was fun. Hey, watch out. And then, yeah, that was that. It was super fun. So if it's near you, because it's going all over the country, you should check it out.
Sometimes, so try to look into it fast. And
yeah, so check it. That is all. Next, I'm over to you, sir.
Okay. Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Open. Here we go. All right, so this week we have a variety of things coming out, including the Hugh Jackman movie Reminiscence, which I was kind of about.
That's a little weird.
The 10 Commandments on 4K.
Oh.
I guess some new limited edition steelbook, because I think the 4K already came out.
But the 4K looks so nice. I watched it again. I like the 10 Commandments.
I have something to tell you about that.
The 4K looks really good. What were you going to tell me?
Not right now. I'll tell you after.
Oh, okay.
Snowpiercer, the complete second season is coming out. What I'm really excited about, and they better send me my copy, or I'll be very upset. The Outsiders, the complete novel, is coming to 4K.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
The Outsiders is one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's the complete novel, which is much like much like Godfather 3, the Coppola whatever cut that Francis Ford Coppola did. This one is going back and adding in those elements that were from the book that were shot. Some of them were put in there. Some of them they had cut out. It's putting everything back together for its anniversary. So that's coming out. The Addams Family 4K edition. It's the Addams Family with more Mamushka edition.
Ah, funny.
Then we also got another collector's edition of Top Gun coming out. Respect is coming out.
RESPECT. I have my special respect menu right here.
Legends of Tomorrow, the complete 6th season.
Oh, wow.
And the Batman Year One commemorative edition 4K, the animated film is coming out.
Oh, nice.
That's the big stuff.
Cool.
All right, back to you.
All right. So what's going on with me over here? Let's see what's coming out of the theater. So this Wednesday, we have some Wednesday releases. Clifford, the Big Red Dog, is coming out nationwide at theaters and also on Paramount Plus.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I'm excited to see Big Red Dog. The only thing that makes me sad is there's no John Ritter doing the voice.
Did he voice the dog?
He did.
Okay.
He was Clifford. So my entire life growing up with Clifford, it was John Ritter. And I always got those books.
I don't think that show was on as long as you think it was.
I don't know. But I always got the books, you know, when they had the little book fair at school,
Yeah.
I'd always buy me a Clifford book.
Oh, we still have book fairs at school.
I don't know if they do or not. We'll have to ask anyone that has children. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this one. Coming out to Netflix on Wednesday as well as the movie Passing. And it's about this lady, a Black woman, who runs into an old friend. And she finds out that this lady, who is also Black, is passing for a white lady. And this is in the 1920s. So interesting storytelling there. Then we go to Friday, nationwide, a movie called Belfast. And it's this boy's story of the trauma of the war and all that in the 1960s.
Movie.
Is it? Is that? It's going to be good then.
That was what I told you. The trailer just came in as we came in here.
Oh.
And it was like black and white. And I was like,
yes.
And then the very end of the trailer turned color. I didn't know what was going on.
No, we'll see. Okay, then the movie Love is Love is Love. Coming out nationwide, and it's the story, obviously, of some different couples and their marriage and honeymoons and all these things. So it's going to be interesting. Coming to Disney Plus. You're waiting on this one.
I'm not really waiting on this
Home
one.
Sweet Home Alone.
They sent it to me, so we will be discussing this next week.
I guess is it
It's not Macaulay Culkin.
continuation?
I don't know.
Oh.
I've heard that some people said it's its own movie. It's a different kid and everything. But I heard some people say there is some connection. I've heard other people say that was just a rumor.
Huh.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I guess we'll find out. I can't imagine that there's any connection. It's probably just a random
redo. Who knows?
Because I think they did other Home Alone movies with a different kid that came straight to video or something before too. So
I don't know. Okay, coming out to Netflix on Friday.
Was it this week?
Finally, the movie Red Notice with Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds. It's so funny. I just lost his name.
They've been on like a
tour
thing, yeah.
It's so funny because The Rock posted a photo. He's like, "Hey, come see this movie with these two amazing famous people and this guy that was in
Fanny Pack."
The Fanny Pack.
The guy famous for his picture of the Fanny Pack.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Coming out to Netflix, the movie Tick Tick Boom. It's starring Andrew Garfield. It's the Broadway. It's based on the Broadway show.
I've avoided that screen.
He won a Tony Award. Come on now. So I'm excited to see this musical. So there you go. I'll watch it for you. Everything else I believe is limited.
We still have some stuff we got to get caught up on.
One more. Prime Video Mayor Pete. It's about Pete Buttigieg, who is former mayor in Indiana, who is an openly gay man running for U.S. president.
Buttigieg.
There you go.
I just want to say Buttigieg. We have some other stuff we haven't got a chance to watch yet. We have Army of Thieves. We've got.
We're so behind on our Netflix.
Yeah. There's another one, that Western one. I don't remember the name of it now, with Regina King and Idris Elba. And so we'll have a bunch of other stuff to talk about next week.
We'll get there.
One Shot, I still want to see really bad. That's the new Scott Adkins movie. I think Brian Phillippe's in that movie too.
All the little Christmas romance movies are starting to come out. I'm excited for this time of year.
All right. So we still have some giveaways. We had a couple of new ones thrown into the mix, as well as a couple of, we still have a few extras left. Keep them running. So we have, are you ready yet?
I'm adding.
Get it together, sister. So we still have copies of The Emperor's Sword to give away, as well as just recently added Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman, if you haven't got to check it out. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it's not a bad movie. It's worth checking out. The Suicide Squad, which is about the Suicide Squad. A Clockwork Orange, which she loves, and apparently my daughter loves as well.
Oh, I'm so glad I positively influenced our child.
But you didn't, sadly.
I did.
No, she saw it at school.
Oh.
And she shouldn't have been watching that.
She saw it at school?
We talked about this last week, you fool.
You told me this, and this is so surprising. Like, why would you show that?
I know. I don't know if there's a statute of limitations to go sue the school system or whatever. But anyway.
Because there's some nudity in
the mini-series of Stephen King's The Stand, the new one, not the original one. This is the new one that had Whoopi Goldberg in it and some other people. And we're giving away copies of I Spit on Your Grave on Blu-ray.
2 thumbs up
if
for
you've
that.
never seen the controversial film, somebody shared it. I don't know if you saw it. One of our friends shared it. One of our sometimes contributors to our site. He shared the giveaway to this. I Spit on Your Grave, and he said this movie influenced a lot of young men's lives. And I'm like, I don't think that's the message you should be getting from this movie, but I totally understand what he means.
But hey, if it stops bad things from happening,
I guess, but it makes you start thinking about. Maybe we should think about if he's allowed at our house anymore.
Wow,
he's probably watching this, so he knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's what's
happening, guys. All right. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for watching, for sticking with us. Our shows end up getting really long sometimes. We're so sorry.
Well, because you keep nagging about we don't have enough to talk about, and then I keep saying we have plenty. Like, let's watch something else.
I know. And then I need to stop. I need to slow it down. Anyways, we will see you next Sunday at the same bat time, same bat channel.
Did you say same fat time?
Bat.
I'm trying to lose weight.
For Hollywood Matrimony Live. We'll see you next week.
Peace and love, children.
Bye.
Bye.